Welcome to UNCAGED, the show that celebrates thought leadership from today's top business leaders. Today, we're talking to two communications entrepreneurs from Barcelona. I'm excited to talk to you more, Eduard, as well as Roger, about the new business, Ray Tesser. But before we get into talking about what you guys are up to with Ray Tesser, Eduard, why don't we start with you? Tell us a little bit about your career and how it's gotten you to the point of starting your own business.
Okay, thanks. On a professional level, I have worked as an account planner in advertising agencies and as a business consultant in so many consultancies here in Spain. And right now, I just opened our own consultancy with Roger. On the other side, I'm an associate professor in Universitat de Montjuïc in Barcelona, and I'm lecturing in strategy, branding, and even in a projects.
That's great. And Roger, where did you guys connect along the way? And tell us how your career has evolved.
Yeah, I would say that I'm the young blood of Ray Tesser. And I started working with Eduard when I was in my third year of my degree. And we continued after I finished there. And that's it. I started working as a planner, strategic planner in a B2B marketing agency. And then we started the project by ourselves. And that's how we get here.
That's great. And so I know that you guys have obviously spent a ton of time in strategic planning and strategic marketing and strategic communications issues and branding, and with very much of a focus on the B2B space. How has that evolved now into what you guys have now built with Ray Tesser? And what are the specific kind of characteristics of Ray Tesser and how you guys approach the market?
Well, we started Ray Tesser because we thought there was a wide space in the market here in Spain, because there were more focused, all the other competitors were more focused on the communications and in the digital spaces instead of thinking. So for that reason, we thought that it was a real good idea just try to focus there as the first marketing agency in Spain, just trying to be first as a thinkers and then as a developers. So for that reason, we just started this new business 7 months ago, just in the middle of the pandemic time, just thinking that it was a good value proposition for the B2B business in Spain.
So tell me more about the need for these kind of strategic solutions. It sounds to me like a lot what you're outlining, Eduard, is that traditionally there would have been more of a focus on maybe more of the tactical elements before mapping out kind of a holistic strategy. Tell me more, Roger, of how you guys are approaching that and building a unique proposition in the market.
Yeah, well, as you said, B2B marketing agencies tend to be tactical, fully tactical here in Spain. It was like, I want to create a website and I call my marketing agency and they create my website, or they create a specific piece to share LinkedIn or Facebook, Twitter, and that stuff. I think that nowadays the approach has to be different because there are plenty of difference before the pandemic and nowadays. Well, I would say that after the pandemic, the approach has to be, first of all, you have to think what you want to do, and then you have to develop that. Okay, because everything has changed since then. Nowadays, you have to think about how you position, how are you positioning your brand, how you develop your key messages, and how you try to reach your new customers. And I think that we are trying to do that in a human-centric way.
Yeah, so tell me more about this kind of human-centric model that you guys are building and how that impacts the way that you work with customers. Eduard, I mean, that's something I know that you guys really champion. So tell me more about that idea.
Yeah, instead of doing what the others do, that is at the end is just do some favors, sell it to client and say bye. What we're trying to do is keeping with them during the whole project. So what we are doing is just to work together in the same room or in the same Zoom, just trying to build the key capabilities, the key issues, the key points that we need to develop then and just put it in the real world. So what we are just doing is just, hey, we will with you during the whole project, and we will working together and having some working workshops, in a way to say, just trying to keep alienating the both parts in the same project line. So in that way, at the end, it's more easy to implement and to think how we can develop a better product. Just instead of giving them just a PowerPoint, so helping them to put down that PowerPoint in the real world. So this is the way that they are really happy with us. They enjoy to work with us because we can develop the whole thing, the whole issue, instead of just giving a nice PowerPoint that nobody in the business know how to put that in the real world. So this is our
Yeah,
point, the way how we try to collaborate with them.
I like that. Moving away from the PowerPoint
Yeah,
and coming up with a better solution. So, when you think about the market and think about some of the clients that you guys have, it sounds to me that in Spain there may be some particular challenges versus other markets. What do you come across? What are the challenges that you guys come across with your clients and in terms of how they're approaching the B2B marketplace?
The first big point that they need to solve is digitalization. So during the pandemic times, all so many business have to rush up trying to push that issue because sellers cannot go to say door by door sales. So they rely on in the door by door sales and they suddenly can do any sales. So for that reason, all that people just trying to focus and reshape a new sales model, trying to fit in the new reality. So that was the first point. So how we can accelerate our business? How can we sell more using internet? Because we never thought about this because we just have a traditional way to sell that we was door by door or just another way to say meal by meal. So let's go together with the meal. Let's try to share our thoughts and then we buy each other, right? So that would be that is the first great effort that all the Spanish industry have made from the last 9 months trying to reshape everything they could. But the problem is that they have now all the tools, but they don't have how to apply the tools. So now it's one of the big points that we figure out, and all the clients said, that, "Hey, man, just try to help me on how we can uh, put that, how can we use that, trying to make efficiency all the investment that we have done, just trying to put that foot forward. That's in a way."
yeah. I would say that the other issue that is that we're trying to solve now is that globalization has led companies to compete in all the world, and now Spanish B2B brands are they're having to compete against Chinese companies, against USA companies, against all the whole Europe companies, and that's very tough because they are local and they have the market from the beginning, but they cannot compete in terms of price, in terms of value proposition, in terms of other stuff. In that case, in marketing, they cannot compete in marketing against the USA companies or against the UK companies. So they have to develop new strategies. They have to develop new approaches to the market, and they have to develop new products too.
So tell me, when you guys got together to come up with the idea, where did the name come from? What's behind Ray Tesser?
Well, as you may know, trying to create your own naming is the tough job that one marketing guy can have to try to solve them. It's so easy to make for clients, but when you are your own client, then time is multiplying by 5. So at the beginning, we just, as are we doing in our process, just okay, let's do a brainstorming with it's strategic brainstorming, not like a brainstorming like that. So let's try to figure out who are the main issues that we want to solve. So let's try to think in that kind of names that can try to serve that points. After several months, maybe 1 month and a half, we decided that this kind of strategy was not the real one for us. It works for client, but not for us. So we tried to create a disruptive way to get our name. So finally, Roger came up with a new way, with a new idea, with an outbreak idea that he can explain for us. And then all the people who is in Ray Tesser say, yeah, that's the right way.
Yeah, what we try. Well, the way was, what do we have? What do we have to project? What does people have to learn about our name? And I said, okay, we have to sound like American consultancy. The first one, we have to sound like an American consultancy. We have to sound international. We have to sound like the people who are strategic, who has a strategic way of thinking. And then I came up with, okay, we can use our names because we are strategists. So I merged up the names, the surnames of the three partners, Eduard Vidal, Roger Mondaray, and Jordi Garcia. Well, the Vidal and Garcia, Jordi and Edu, I used the second surname, okay, that is Portes and Soler, and we came up with an American name, and that is Ray from Mondaray, Tess from Portes, and Ser from Soler. So that's it. Yeah, we merged everything.
I love it. I think it's really clever. So
yeah.
So you talked a little bit, Roger, about how some of the companies were dealing with certain things before the pandemic and now after the pandemic. I mean, let's talk a little bit about you guys. So you came up with the construct for the business during the pandemic. How are you seeing the way you guys work evolve during this time? Start with you, Roger.
Well, here in Spain, the pandemic has not evolved at all, because nowadays we're in the same situation as we were 1 year ago. Yeah, that's the reality. I'm sorry about that, but yeah. So we haven't changed at all. We're working with Zoom, we're working with Google Meets, and we're trying to not see each other's faces in months. Okay, so everyone is protected and everyone is safe. We have to change it all. But thinking about how we worked before, when we were in another agency or when we were working in other places, I would say that I think from my experience that I love the way we're working now, because it is not compulsory to go to the office and to go to somewhere to share thoughts, because you can use digital tools that you have. You can develop the same type of ideas, or you can come up with the same strategies working on the internet than working in a place in real. So I'm very happy with that.
Well, I mean, obviously, I hope that things definitely improve in Spain soon. But as you guys look forward and maybe map out the strategic plan for your own business, what does the future look like, Eduard?
We are pretty happy on what we are doing right now. We have several projects in the pipeline, so that looks good. And we think that from the time on, we are seeing that there's a new generation coming to the directive staff in the business. So that point is really important right now. So it looks like that some of the B2B business run has decided to change its mindset, change its direction, and enter the new generation. So the sons of founders, or even the grandsons of the founders, and then something is changing. They have a new business mindset. They believe in marketing. They believe in branding. They love to work in a digital way. So little by little, we are seeing that the B2B business world is changing with the people who's managing. So that for us is it's a really good point, because we can talk the same language with them in a strategic way, instead of just talking always as a tactical, because they love tactical. They love to talk about, hey, the website, the KPIs, and etc. But so many times the real problem is not the how they use all the webs and all the inbound
Tools.
marketing stuff. The problem that they have is that they don't really focus on the right message. So for us, it's a really important point, just talking in a strategic way with the people who manage now that kind of business.
And how about for you, Roger? What are the areas that you think are going to be big for the near future for you guys?
Well, I think that we are now working with some startups, and I think that it's very interesting to see how they grow and to see how they enter the market and how they develop there. I think that catching some new business from startups is very important for us, and I think that for the future it will be more important, because new startups are led by new managing CEOs and a new way of thinking. So I think that that's the point. Trying to catch startups, trying to share and to grow with them, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and I think maybe as a startup yourselves, there may be some kind of symmetry there. So, well,
Yeah.
listen, Eduard, Roger, it's been great having you on the show today. We've been learning about the new business that these two gentlemen have started with a third partner, Jordy, Ray Tesser, which is really working on marketing and branding challenges in the B2B space, heavily focused on Spain, but really kind of how those Spanish companies can compete on a global basis, and really kind of getting out of maybe some of the tactical discussions that they've been having and taking more of a holistic approach going forward. I look forward to hearing more about what you guys are up to, but if someone wanted to get in touch with you to learn more about Ray Tesser, where should they go?
They should go to raytesser.com, and that's it. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, listen, thanks so much, guys, for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.